black. I'll plow that.
Good, good. Ooh, that's pretty.
Chapter 327. 54. Pipe down in this little. Cold water's already hooked up from the outside. So on this cut, I want the same size tile on this side as this side. So I found my center point. My cut's going to be 32, so I went 16 this way, 16 this way. This line will be right down the middle. Kind of be a more symmetrical look. And on this side, I'm going to have to cut a hole for this solar water valve and for the shower head. So this piece goes at the top of the shower, and where the shower head's going to be sticking out, and that's going to be the solar water valve cut on, cut off access port. Now we've got two sides done. And this is my solar water cutoff valve, cut on and off valve. Now when you're in the shower and you're splashing water, I had to put some kind of splash guard that goes like this at an angle that you could reach behind to turn the valve on, to turn the valve off, but wouldn't let water splash into your walls. Put that on my to-do list. And then this side, it's going to be an L shape. It's going to be fun. So I just stirred it all up. I put these three straps on. Now it's good and solid. Doesn't wiggle. And I think next I'll spray that whole area, I'm going to spray it black. So that when you're looking through the hole in the tile board, you won't see all these plumbing pieces. You'll just see darkness. Shadows. You'll see the unknown. So now that whole area is black, except for the handle, part of the little valve there. Maybe I'll put the board back on and see what it looks like. Looks good to me. Almost needed a flat black. I see some shininess going on in there. But hey, I'm going to call it good enough. Once we get our baffle on there to keep the water from splashing, it'll be hard to see. The pear tree that was in bloom, here's the size of the pears right now. Not much to look at yet, but they're growing. Okay, now we're inside the house. This is the cold water supply line. It brings the water in the house. Shoots over this way. It'll be cold water for your kitchen sink. Goes up and it's going to feed the water heater. Coming down from the water heater, this will be the hot water going over to the sink. And I've also got to punch a hole through the floor that goes underneath and shoots hot water over to the shower. That's what we're doing right now. Maybe right there. Yeah, something about right there. Just drilled this hole. It now comes across through the floor joist, over and up into the hot water shower line. The only thing left now would be the solar heated water line. I also went and hooked up the toilet where it stubs up to go to the toilet. That's now hooked up. Under the tiny house, I'm thinking about putting in some insulation. And if I do, it's about 14, about a 14 and a quarter wide. Insulation's a little bit squishy. I might cut it 14 and a half, squish it up in there, and then maybe put a sheet of plywood to hold it in place. And on the topic of insulation, I've got this 1-inch thick black foam. I was involved in a demolition on a Navy base, and it was a whole case of this stuff they were going to throw away. So I brought it home with me. That was put in about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And the kids, they've been sleeping on that in the camper when we go camping. But now I think we're going to turn it into insulation. And if we look at the numbers on it, it says 1 inch thick. Maybe that's an R4 value, possibly. Now I'm gonna cut some kind of plywood to go up in there and hold that in place. Keep the dogs, the whatever, from scratching at it. It should be pretty good, huh? I think so too. This is some old scrap plywood that's coming in really handy. Okay, so the sun has gone down and we're going under the house to see what it looks like. This is the plywood that holds the insulation up. I think she sees me. Expense report number 6, I've been to Ace twice, Lowe's once, Home Depot 3 times. Home Depot 1, 2, 3, Lowe's 1, Ace 1, 2. On expense report number 5, we were up to $5,161.32. For expense report number 6, expense report number 6, we're at $5,251.23. This is how to make your store-bought chalupa even better. Gotta get some of that homemade guacamole. Gotta take some of that homemade salsa. Slide over a little bit. And you're gonna need some chips. That's a meal. Sweet and sour meatballs are on the way. And cream peas. Don't forget about the baked chicken. 2 layers of baked chicken. Oh. Meatball check, and forgot to tell you about the double desserts. That is mustard and grape jelly, if you're wondering.
Chili.
A little bit of chili powder. Stir it up. had to show you the finished product.
That sauce right here.
Cucumber at week 6, and I see no cucumber. I see a lot of future blooms coming up. There's a bloom. So maybe by next week we'll see our first cucumber. Now if we jump over to the squash row, week 6, and I see our first squash. This is the one from last week. It was about that big, now it's this big. Right beside it, there's squash number 2 on the same bush. If we look, there's baby squash, baby squash. There's a set of Siamese twins. That little plant is loaded down.
Daddy.
Next door, more of the same. Squash, 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 squash. And here's another fine example. Squash, 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 squash. You can see, I don't know how many squash up in there. The zucchini row, and he says he sees, I guess he does, zucchini. Zucchini. Sweet zucchini. Look at all the blooms. And there's a zucchini. It's just sitting there. The corn is almost as high as he is. Reach your hand over. How high is the corn? Oh, about, I don't know, what's that, 18 inches? 2 foot. Squash we replanted last week. And the cucumber we replanted last week. Maybe a little taller than last week. There's the watermelon. Here's a look at the sunflower. It's about hand tall. And this is the tallest sunflower so far. Kids are falling out of the sky. There's the kids, they decided it was time to plant a tree. And it might even live, who knows? So I was just thinking to myself, the garden is not big enough. Then I think, it's too big. Then I think not big enough. So I mowed a little section here, and I think we're gonna plow it up. I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 more rows. Can you have enough corn? About 10 minutes later, and we've almost doubled the size of the garden. There's still a lot of work left to do, but it's going to be a lot bigger if we use this area. This is a fat burrito here. Might have put too much stuff in there. Lead me to the pan. Kitty, 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 kitty. You want to do a sonogram? Yep, there's one. You can feel them in there kicking. Kitty, kitty. What's your name? What's your name? Clover? What's your name? What's your due date? You know when you're due? The due date? The date that it's due? So I'm looking for some hinges for the bathroom cabinets, and these are $327. I think we're gonna have to get those. I mean, how can you argue with that price? Now this is how you make a Coke and Peanuts video. I got the Coke and the Peanuts. I got the camera on the trash can. I got the boy up in the tree. I got everybody right here standing around here. They're waiting on this Coke and Peanuts if I get full. I'm not getting full.